Hello, everyone. It's early in the morning, but I finished reading a very interesting book um, by Taiye. Sorry for mispronouncing. Taiye Selasi, a British-born writer, born in 1779, a pretty young writer. People say that she's been the originator of the term. She coined the term Afropolitanism, but in interviews she continues to deny being the coiner of that very term when she wrote that essay called Babar, whatever it called. I think it was something like Babar something. Bye bye, bye bye Babar. That was the name of that essay she wrote. Then on the aftermath of that publication, prominent teachers like Simon Jikandi or Achille Mbembe started to develop that term a bit more. But she's a young writer. She's been writing books for children and poetry. But the most probably known novel she's written so far is that one I'm going to talk about now. And here it is. It is called Ghana Must Go. A quite secretive title. And I wondered, what could that mean? Yes, of course. She's born from a father who's a doctor and a mother who's also a doctor. In the novel, basically, Dr. Kweku is from Ghana. The character, Dr. Kweku, a reputed surgeon at a Boston hospital somewhere there in the east of the United States of America. And the mother, we have no definite position of the mother, except that she's given birth to 4 kids, Kehinde and Taiho, who are twins, Olu, who is also a doctor, and then Sadie, the youngest of the siblings, called by her mother in the text, my baby. So 4 kids in the story. This is the story of, indeed, that Kweku Sai family in Boston. The doctor is reputed, as we said, but then someday everybody recognizes talent, everybody recognizes expertise and excellence. Comes along at the A&E a very elderly lady who needs to be operated. The chief general, the managing director of the hospital, thinks of no one else to carry out the operation but Dr. Kweku, the reputed surgeon. But the operation just it is not botched, but goes wrong. The lady dies. And then, of course, the family of the elderly lady, who is pretty affluent and one of the main financially assisting, shall we say, lobby of the hospital, decides that the hospitals must get rid of Dr. Kweku, even though the managing director knows pretty well that the operation was lost in advance. The dice has been rolled already for that lady. But she has to choose between the excellence of Dr. Kweku and losing the financial support of the family. So Dr. Kweku is laid off, dismissed, and sent away. Within the process, the shame, the humiliation that Dr. Kweku is faced with, he decides just enough is enough. Uh, um, he decides to just to disappear. Sends a call to his family, and says, "I'm leaving," but nobody knows what it means. "I'm leaving" means that, I mean, he's decided to re-migrate back to Ghana. And he becomes incommunicado for more than 15 years or so. This is what happens. And the story kind of from that moment on, it just sort of unravels. The family story, the family life goes spiraling down to disaster almost. The kids are traumatized. Everybody is really on the edge. Then financially, Folasade, the mother, who cannot make and meet because of the financial load represented by, I mean, raising those four kids. She decides to send the twins, Keinde and Taiye, to Nigeria, where our brother Femi lives. So sends the kids to their uncle. But things over there go wrong also. The children are mistreated. The Femi's wife there, who has never, for a start, loved those kids, conspires and blames the kids for having forbidden sex while sleeping in the same room. And the uncle, of course, instead of defending the kids, just exposes them and obliges them to have sex in front of everybody, which is a traumatic experience for the kids. So, and fortunately, they are saved by another uncle who hushes them back to where they came from, to the United States. This is the story of the family. But everything kicks off with the departure of the father, the desertion of the father from the family. This is where we are. But then 15 years later, they receive a call from a colleague doctor of Dr. Kweku back in Boston to announce that Dr. Kweku has passed away. Thanks to or because of a cardiac arrest. So Folasade goes back home, right? Goes back to Ghana to try to organize the burial procedures there. The family is really in shambles. The family is all scattered, and I mean, kids are really in a very, very bad mental state. But yet they pick the pieces together and decide that they cannot leave the mother alone, support the burial process there. So they decide to go back to Nigeria. That's what happens. They go back to Nigeria, to Ghana, sorry. They discover the country. And then, of course, this is the opportunity for all of them to try to pick those pieces together and try to recreate a more amenable, a more acceptable family ambience. This is what happens. I mean, the roots they come in contact with will, shall we say, rebalance the entire family. Folasade is not very happy, but then there are things she did not know. She did not understand why the kids were so hateful of her. But of course, then on that beach, in front of the sea, Taiwo, who is a very, in a very inward mood, reveals the truth to the mother, what has happened to them, how Uncle Femi has forced Keinde, the elder brother, the twin brother, to penetrate her with his finger. A total humiliation for the two kids, because the threat was that if Keinde does not touch her own sister, then uncle will give the permission to the soldiers and the guards to touch her. So in order to protect her, in a very, very tragic sort of protection, in order to protect her own sister, she decides to do it so that she does not hurt her too much. But then, of course, things go bad, go wrong, really, go wrong. Both kids are traumatized, and they spill that truth in the face of the mother, in front of that Ghanaian sea. So this is where we are, and it is on that Ghanaian soul that the family really comes back together. Saidi, the youngest sibling, reconnects with Na, a sister, a distant sort of sister on the Ghanaian soul, who teaches her how to dance. So far, she's been very awkward with her own body. She's been very hateful of her own body. She doesn't like her body until she reaches the Ghanaian soul, where she starts dancing and discovers that she can dance, and she discovers that she's not as ugly as she's been thinking so far. And this is the very first time she allows her mother to touch her. And this is the very first time she accepts the physical protection of her mother. And we can see, sifting through the lines, that indeed this family is getting reunited gradually, step by step. Sorry about that. Keinde, who's a reputed artist, also falls into the steps. And then, of course, they made that decision to bury or to cremate their defunct father. So they go for cremation, and they have got that urn with the ashes in it. And they decide either to spill the ashes on the sea, or to keep those ashes just in the urn and just sail away that urn. And this is the decision they make, refusing to scatter those ashes, says Folasade, the mother, is also one way to heal the wounds, to heal the emotional breakdowns, to heal the wounds, as I said. So yes, they're stitching up everything together, and they send that urn in the sea until it disappears in the sea. That's where the novel ends. But indeed, the family is reunited. We can feel it. The atmosphere is much more peaceful at the end than it is at the beginning and in the middle of that book, where everybody is torn apart. And then nobody is making any specific efforts to come together. But the death of the father is indeed the 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 drug the family needed to heal. So from that fatherly death springs up a new hope, a new destiny for this Kwekosai family. It's a very thrilling book, thick. Sometimes you get lost in the intrigue because you have got so many tiny, tiny intrigues intertwined, sewn together. Um, Sometimes you might get lost if you do not pay proper attention to those tiny, tiny bits scattered all over the place around the main intrigue. It is a very thrilling book to read. Taiye Selasi, Ghana must go. Thank you.